So I thought it was about time that I made a clock. It's made out of cherry for the body, which has some nice walnut inlay, and the face is made out of book-matched spalted maple, and I also use some inlay in the face, so stick around. For the bottom of the clock, I'm going to use a piece of 4/4 cherry, and the very bottom portion of the clock needs to be about 9 inches wide, and this board's around 5 inches, so I need to glue together 2 pieces to make up the width. So before I can join these 2 pieces together, I need to face joint one side to get it nice and flat, and then we'll plane each side to thickness. So before I glue these 2 pieces together, I'm going to edge joint both mating surfaces to make a nice joint. And yes, it is getting a little bit hot down here in North Carolina. About a year ago, I bought this nice piece of spalted maple with the hopes that I'd eventually find a use for it. So I think I have a pretty cool idea for the clock face. This spalted maple is 4/4, so it's about 1 inch thick. And the clock face only needs to be about 3/8 of an inch thick. So what I thought I'd do is go ahead and resaw this right down the middle at the bandsaw and book match each half of the clock face. And I think that'll give it a really neat effect. Now that came out looking like a pretty cool book match. So now what I need to do is go ahead and just lightly face joint each show face of this book match and then plane it to thickness. So with both outside edges cut to width and the inside edge jointed, I'll go ahead and glue these 2 halves together. So I went ahead and scraped off all of the glue off the clock face. Now I just need to cut it out 9 inches square at the table saw. For the cherry bottom portion of the clock, I'm just going to cut to 17.5 inches long. If you've yet to make a set of these spiral clamps to hold your work as you're card scraping, you might want to give them a try. I need to rip out a 1/2 inch thick square rod of walnut, which is going to be used to mark the hours on the clock face. So I'm going to mark the location of the 12, 3, 6, and 9 hour by using a square inlay of walnut. In order to mark the outside edge of the square inlay, I took my marking gauge and just made a faint scratch on top of a piece of tape. So by using a square and a hollow mortising chisel, I'm just going to tap out the boundary of the inlay. Now I'll just go back and forth between the hollow chisel and a regular set of chisels until this is all the way cleaned out. Now here's a trick to get a really nice snug fitting inlay. Next thing you want to do is take your chisel and make a bevel all the way around the bottom of the plug. The plug is about 1/10 thou too thick, so what this will do is wedge the inlay real nicely into the opening. In the bottom part of the clock, I'm going to inlay 3 strips of walnut, and to pull that off, I'm going to use my plunge router with an edge guide and 2 shims. With 1/2 inch shim inserted in between the edge guide and the workpiece, I'm going to go ahead and make a groove down the center of the work to create the first inlay. Then what I'll do is I'll remove the 1/2 inch shim and create the rightmost groove. And then to create the leftmost groove, I'm going to use 2 1/2 inch shims, which will push the router over to the left the required amount. So now I just need to square up the ends of these 1/8 inch screws with an 1/8 inch chisel. Five thousandths of an inch too big, and it's still just a little bit too tight. So yeah, sometimes we woodworkers do work down to the thousandths of an inch.
Tick-tock of disproportionate hands, echoing the rhythm of incessant demands. And my time's just a reason now for leaving this land to a better place, to a better place. The ding-dong of the digital gong, waking me and pulling me as I try to hold on to the dream of what will be, or maybe what now has gone to a better place, to a better place. Won't someone please get rid of these clocks?
So for the tapers on the bottom piece, I thought I would just cut it out to my layout line at the bandsaw and then just clean it up at the joiner. I was thinking about using my table saw and my tapering jig, but I thought this way would be just a little bit easier.
Upon hours, upon days, I consult with Einstein for a way to escape to a better place, to a better place. I speed up my motion, ever increasing my pace, slowing down.
Now I just need to round over all the edges with an 1/8 inch radius round over bit.
It's all relative, but it appears I've escaped to a better place, to a better place. Won't someone please get rid of these clocks?
So I carefully marked the center of the clock face for a hole which is going to receive the clock hardware, and this will get inserted in from the back and inlaid into the back of the clock.
So
with the clock hardware inserted into the hole from the back, we can go ahead and trace out for the inlay. So with a mortising bit and my plunge router, I'm just going to freehand this inlay for the mechanism to our line that we created earlier.
She lets out a laugh and says, "What are you joking? I just came from that place."
For the finish, I'm applying a mixture of tung oil, varnish, and mineral spirits in equal parts.
It was hard struggling to this better place, to this better place.
So I hope you guys liked this week's project, and if you're not already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Oh, and check out the Garage Woodworks store where you can get some really cool Garage Woodworks gear. Thanks a lot, guys.